Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today's video I'm here to predict what I think is going to happen in the next 5 games for Luton and for Rob Edwards. And I do say for Rob Edwards because I do believe he's going to still be our manager for the next 5 to 6 games. In fact, I don't know what the club are deciding to do with Rob Edwards, but at least for these next couple of games I do think he's going to be Luton Town manager. I think Luton being radio silence for about 2 weeks hasn't helped the situations. Fans questioning, is he still going to be our manager? We didn't even celebrate his 2-year anniversary with the football club, which I thought was a little bit, you know, although I'm Edwards out, I still think we should have at least done some sort of post celebrate him being Luton Town manager for 2 years, but we didn't post anything. I do think the communication side yet again has been poor from Luton. It's been poor for a couple of seasons now. I don't know why we keep doing this. Something needs to be looked at regards to communication, but that's a separate video altogether. And yeah, I just think Edwards is going to be our manager for the next 5 or 6 games. But will he get those next 5 to 6 games? Well, that is the big question, and our next 5 games is what I want to talk about. We start off with the game at home against Hull, which basically on paper it looks like it's a must-win game for Luton. If we don't win at home against Hull, the pressure on the board and on Edwards just gets multiplied. It really does. I feel like there is an expectation to get a response out of the group of players following the 5-1 defeat against Middlesbrough. I'm assuming players are going to be back for that game. You saw Mans Anderson on the bench against Middlesbrough, and also Reece Burke hopefully coming back from injury. So I feel like maybe defensively we're going to be a lot stronger, which goes in our favour a little bit because we haven't had a consistent backline in my opinion since the start of the season. So going into that game against Hull, there's lots of pressure, but there's not just pressure on Luton, there's also pressure on Hull. Hull fans have been very vocal, especially on social media and also in the stands, that they are not too happy with what they're seeing on the pitch from Hull this season. They're not happy with certain performances, and a lot of their fan base want their manager out. So for both teams, it's kind of like both teams need to try and get a result, need to try and find a positive result. And both sides drawing this game, it kind of does scream a draw, thinking about it. But both teams, if they get a draw, both teams could end up sacking their manager after it. Honestly, Luton being radio silence for these 2 weeks does not help, because I'm going into this game against Hull thinking, is this going to be Edwards' last game as Luton Town manager? And I feel like Hull fans may also say the same thing regarding their manager as well. So not an easy first game after an international break, going into a game against Hull with lots of pressure from the home fans in getting a result. And I still think if we do get a result, it would just paper over a few cracks, because we go into 2 very difficult away games. Leeds United away from home midweek, and then Norwich. Leeds, I honestly believe we won't get anything from. The way they're playing, the way they are going about their season, they're going to get the 3 points. Easy win for them in my opinion. The way we've shown away from home, the away form has just been poor, but we do not look good away from home. And I think the performance against Leeds is going to be very similar to the performance against Sheffield United, where we won't look good going forward, and defensively we'll just look all over the place. Luton, we never do well with a 3-game week. It's something that's frustrated me so much because we don't manage it correctly enough. And yeah, I don't have any... Well, I'm not positive enough that I feel like we're going to get anything. And that's just me being honest. I know a lot of you guys don't like me being this negative, but I'm only telling you how I feel. And I can't lie. I can't pretend that I think we're going to go to Leeds and win 3-0. I just can't. I just think like there's no way we're going to get a positive result. I'll try and find a way to get that I think we're going to get a positive result, but it probably won't happen. So I don't think we're going to get anything from Leeds. But then we go to Norwich, which, if you look at the Championship League table, you may think, well, actually, Norwich, where they are in the league, they're not having a good season. it could be a good place to go to get 3 points. But Norwich are good at home, and they have been for a very long time. I think they only just recently lost at home, but prior to that, they went a whole year without losing a game at home. So they are very good. It's their away form that actually lets them down. And also, they do have a couple of good players that could cause any team any problems. And as a team that's looking to try and compete in those playoff positions, they're hoping to have a much better second half of the championship season. So going to Norwich, it's not going to be easy. And with the way we're performing, it's not looking good. So if we get an absolute thrashing from Leeds, and then we go into that game against Norwich on the back of that, it could look really bad for us. And you think about it, if we go into the 4th game, which is against Swansea at home, after these 3 games against Hull, Leeds and also Norwich, without a win, that game against Swansea gets tough. And I feel like when you look at the last 2 games out of the 5, which is Swansea at home and then Stoke at home, you actually think there's a very good chance Luton can get 3 points against both of those teams. Swansea, a very good ball playing side, a team that's looking to do better than what they did last season. They've been performing like a mid-table team, really. I think, again, just like Norwich, they're going to be a team that's trying to compete in those playoff positions. But I think a lot of Swansea fans are kind of waiting for their team to get out of first gear, really. It's been lots of mixed results. Can they get out of first gear for that second half of the season? That could help them try and get into those playoff positions. That is the question. But I don't see that being an easy tie. That could easily be a draw at home, knowing Luton especially. But then we go into the game against Stoke, a team that's massively been underperforming for years now in the Championship. They keep sacking managers and changing. I think more from the ownership downwards. The structure of the football club is not in a good place right now, and I still don't think it is, because I still thought it was an absolute mental decision to sack their previous manager. But yes, they are a team that, the way, if you look at the data, don't create many opportunities, don't create many clear-cut opportunities, but yet at the moment they're in mid-table of the Championship. And that's somewhere, at least I hope Luton would have at least have been as I'm recording this video. But we're not. We're just above those relegation places, playing like a team that is going to get relegated. And that's the truth. We're not playing well at all. If you look at the data, apparently we should be in the top 10 according to the data. But despite what the data's saying, and I'm just using my own eyes here, I don't think we've actually been that good. I feel like we should be a couple of places higher in the Championship compared to where we are now. I do think we should have got 1 or 2 more wins, and that would have put us in a much better position. But apart from that, I think we deserve to be roughly where we are. We've been poor. I think that's very fair to say. We have been very poor. Not good enough in front of goal at times. We concede too many goals. We have a very weak midfield, and I do worry about what the future holds. The board backing Edwards, okay, but is he going to get backed in January? Are we going to have a very proactive January transfer window? Because if we don't have a proactive January transfer window after the season we've just had, well, after the season so far, fans are going to get angry. They really are. I don't like the fans getting angry towards the board. I understand the board's had a quite poor year in terms of decision making, and they're entitled to have a poor year in my opinion. They've had so many great years. At some point they are going to make a few mistakes, and at the moment we are experiencing those few mistakes. Of course, we're learning as we go on. We don't have owners that have been in the business for 40, 50 years like some other owners have. So we have to go about our business quite different. And I understand that, and I appreciate that, and I understand that the new stadium, which is the future of Luton Town Football Club, is probably the most important thing right now. But that new stadium won't look good in League One. It really won't. And I don't want us to be a League One side with that new stadium. So we need to buck up our own ideas and find a way to grind out results. Whether that's supporting Edwards or not, we need to find a way to win games of football. But when I look at these next 5 games, I really struggle on where I feel like the wins are going to come from. And whether or not Edwards gets to manage Luton for the game against Swansea or for the game against Stoke, we'll soon find out. John's still a legend of this football club. When he got sacked by Luton, he got given 21 games in that season where he got the sack. I think Edwards is going to get the same, which for me is maybe too many games, because I feel like the warning signs have been there for quite a while, and I'm surprised that we haven't acted, especially with the way Edwards was speaking after the game against Middlesbrough. I was very surprised. But we'll soon find out, won't we? We'll soon find out against Hull what we do, how we react, because we are expecting a reaction. So those are my thoughts on what I think's potentially going to happen in the next 5 games. If I was to predict how many wins, I do think we are going to win 1 game. I think we're going to get 5 points in our next 5. 5 points in your next 5 games isn't good. That's 1 point a game. At the moment, Luton are on course, I think, to get 52 points, which isn't enough to stay up in the Championship. You know, especially last season. It might be this year, but I don't want it to get to that. I don't want to be in a relegation scrap. We shouldn't be. We really shouldn't. This squad is more than capable of being a top 10 team. We're just underperforming, and we need to find a way to start performing. So there you have it. My next video will probably be a match preview on the whole game. So make sure you check out that video, drop a like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz, and yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video.